Hey guys, welcome into this video. I'm here with Amanda, who has been someone I've worked with for, at this stage, Amanda, I think it is over 2 years.
Yeah.
So it's been quite a journey. We did an interview like this literally 2 years ago when I believe you were at about 5,000 per month for like the first time, I think. And you
Yeah.
were doing things then with social media, but things have changed, right? 2 years later, obviously the
Mhm.
type of clients you work with, how much you're making, that's all changed quite a bit. So do you want to give
Mhm.
people first an update as to where you're at now? And then we'll kind of start to dig into how you first started and then how you got from 5K a month to where you're at now as well.
Yeah. So I used to, when we talked last, do it everything by myself,
Hmm.
which I don't recommend doing if you get more than 5 clients. I think that's just like a lot for
Hmm.
anyone. So now where I'm at is I have like a full blown agency. I have virtual assistants and graphic designers and all that fun
Hmm.
stuff helping me. So it's really grown into something um big. And I was previously at 5K a month, but now we're well over 20. So it's going really well. But yeah, it's just definitely changed. Things have changed, Adam.
For sure, for sure. Like that's obviously a massive one, right? Like the team structure changing from freelancer doing everything yourself to now you have an agency. Now you've a multi six-figure agency where you're not doing everything yourself. So for people who are curious, then Amanda, like what do you do? And then obviously you've got your team members doing the rest. But what's your now, what's your day-to-day job?
So I'm more managing just the team. So
Hmm.
I'm checking in on everyone, making sure all the clients' posts are going out,
Hmm.
making sure that the contracts are sent, invoices are sent, just that everything is running smoothly and nothing, is getting overlooked. That's too crazy. But I have, all my calls change from being sales calls to being checking calls with the sales team and with everyone who's working in the day to day, like the social media managers and things like that. So I'm pretty much the ringleader, the
Mm.
manager, I guess I would say.
Yeah, from social media manager to the manager. That's the
Right.
big change. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nice.
Which is funny because my whole brand before when I first started with you was
Mm.
social manager Amanda. Like that is all my
Hmm.
handle, my TikTok and everything. And now I'm having sort of like an identity crisis because I'm like, I'm no longer social manager Amanda. Like, what am I now? So that's something that I'm trying to define too.
Yeah,
But
yeah. You're in the next stage, so maybe the handle has to update as well.
yeah, been thinking
We'll
about it.
see. We'll see. We'll have a chat about it. We are just talking off camera. We're hosting an event in Ireland in a month from recording this right now. So Amanda obviously will get to meet us in person and connect with the other people in our group as well. So that's gonna be good. Amanda, coming back to that, what would you say is your profit margin? So if you're doing well over 20,000 per month, I know a lot of people would hear that and be like, "Whoa, like that's so much money. I don't even know what to do with that kind of money." How much
Mhm.
of that is going to your team and like the systems you have in the business right now? And then how much is like the rough profit?
I would say 20 to 25% goes to everyone else
Hmm.
that's working, and then I'd say the profits are about 70%.
Amazing.
There's a few clients where it's not quite that. I would say it's
Hmm.
more like 60-40, but that's okay. Not everyone can be, you know, perfect.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's again for people to know, like that's really important, right? Like you will have clients that just they use more resources, more of your team's time than some of
Mhm.
your clients who might use barely anything and they might have a 90% profit margin versus 60 with some of them.
Right.
So that it's definitely important to know that because I definitely had times where a client would really overuse resources. And I would be
Mhm.
like, oh, well, we've got to get rid of them. But when you balance it out, if it balances out, like your total profit margin is an amount that you're happy with, then that's good. I don't see
Yep.
anything wrong with that. And that's
Yep.
also going to dispel the myth that agencies can't make 10, 20,000 per month or more with a good profit margin. There's actually a lot of people online that will say, hey, you should have a 30% profit margin. If you've got 40, you're doing good, but like you've got 70. That's what I've
Yes.
always aimed for. And it's cool to see that you've followed that and you've done that in your own way with your own systems, your own team, but you've hit that similar target
Yeah. Yeah. It was a process, but
for
it's
sure.
all a learning process. process. So
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely, definitely. Amanda, what was the first thing you outsourced? So when you went from just you to that first team member, what was the first major role that you would have got somebody else to do?
Definitely the content creation.
Mm,
That part takes a big chunk of time, and I'm not, like, the best graphic designer, like, I have knowledge of Canva and Illustrator and things like that, but I just didn't feel like my time was being spent the best that it could be making all the content. So that's something that was the first thing I did. And that was huge. I think that was sort of like the turning point for me when I realized like, okay, like if I have someone who I can trust doing the content creation, which is a very important piece of social media
hmm.
management, then I can really sort of like go into it and fully focus on, getting more clients to have
Yes.
content creation for. Yeah.
Yes, definitely. And I think again, that's something like a lot of people, if they're starting, will try and skip that and they'll try and say, hey, no, I'll do the content, I'll do the management, but I'll hire somebody to do sales, right? Or I'll hire somebody to do something else on the back end where like you start with the stuff as you identified there that's really important, but it's just not worth your time anymore as the business is growing. It's like right where you're at right now, if you were to sit down and create all the graphics, like that's insane, right? That just doesn't logically make sense. Your
Yeah.
time is worth so much more than that right now, and you can gladly pay somebody $10 to do the graphics, right? Or each graphic, for sure. I think that's something, most people they need to understand when they're coming in because they might be like, oh no, but I like graphics. I'm going to do the graphics. Like, yeah, but you will grow. And as that continues, you will need to outsource those other tasks as you see fit. So I like that you started with that. And then
Yeah.
coming to where you're at now, what was the latest thing that you've handed off to somebody else?
So there's 2 things that you might laugh at. So the first thing was answering my personal emails. And I
Okay.
know that sounds crazy, and I know, like, some people may be watching this and being like, "Okay, well, how do the people know if it's actually you? Like, that's, like, not authentic," or whatever people say, "It's not genuine." It's just, like, it gets to a point where it's too much,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't care what anyone says, you sometimes you need to do things, and
Yeah.
I can't be sitting at my email all day typing away. So I have somebody who literally logs into my personal email and does all that stuff. And then also the sales calls, just having someone who can, we have a pitch deck, we have the whole case study, all that fun stuff. And so that person is just presenting it, saying, hey, do you want a proposal? We can make it in a couple days.
Mhm.
Then you can talk to Amanda. So I think it's just a lot of taking myself out of it. I'm still in it.
Mhm.
I think the point is definitely for them to still talk to me in the end. I
Mhm.
do talk to every client, but I think a lot of the things that I'm sort of delegating and handing off are a process to get to that point of actually speaking with me.
Yeah, for sure. I like that because, like you said, you're still involved. It's not that they don't speak to you. You're making the process more difficult, essentially, for them to get through to you. Which means that when they do get through to you, it's like serious business. Now it's time to work, and that's when you
Mhm.
obviously get them in, close the deals, and then deliver the work for them.
Yeah, and I think, like, and one point on that that I think is important is, like, you'll get a lot of people who waste your time, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And, I had the whole, free discovery call and, even calls that people paid to have with me, like
Hmm.
200 bucks an hour. Like, sometimes they'll still waste your time, and so I make it very clear now, like, "Hey, this is the minimum price it is, like, if you can't afford that, like, that's fine, but, like, don't get on this call because, we could have somebody else who can actually afford that and is ready to sort of, like, really hone in on their social media, like, then you're wasting time, you're wasting effort, you're wasting
Hmm.
resources." So I don't like to waste anyone's time, I don't like to waste my time, I don't like to waste other people's time. So, that's not what we're doing over here. We're not
Yeah,
wasting
that's the
time.
most valuable resource we all have. So you got to protect that for sure.
Yeah.
Amanda, there's two messages you have sent to me in the last. Okay, there was one recently and then one probably about a year ago. And I want to bring those up. Okay. One
Oh, wow.
message was that, don't worry, I'm not exposing anything. You're all good.
Okay,
This
okay.
is PC. One of them was that you signed 20 clients in a week. Okay. Now, I know that was through some form of a personal brand strategy. I believe it was with TikTok, but I want to see if you can break it down for people because, someone hearing that for the first time, 20 clients in a week is just going to go like, one, how, and two, that's not possible.
Yeah. So that did in fact happen. I guess I posted a TikTok where I sort of was giving advice on how to grow for lazy people. And partially that did well because people didn't like that I used the word lazy. Um, but that did work to my advantage in many ways. But it went like super viral, like 4 million views. I had well over 300 inquiries for social media management. I had hundreds and hundreds for coaching and mentorship. It was just like that video, I think, really put a lot of things into perspective for me. Like, okay, like this is a real need. Like people really need help on social media. Like, and to me, like it was something that I was giving advice. I thought it was just common sense. I thought it was just general knowledge. Like, hey, if you want to grow, like before you get out of bed every day, like post a video. Like, don't get out of bed until you post a video. I don't know. It was just like something like that. And like to me, that's not, a big deal. But to other people who really struggle with social media, it's a very big deal. So I think a lot of people just sort of realize, like, oh, maybe they didn't know that this is something that they could have help with, or maybe they didn't know that, they could pay someone to make the content for them, that whatever they didn't know. I think it really piqued a lot of people's interest, and it really for me at least reached the right people. So we did end up signing like 20 of those clients from the inquiries in 1 week, and then the next week and the week following I think we signed like 30 others. So that for the 3 months after that we had about 50 clients, which was when I was like, okay, it's a little too much. But that's
Yeah,
when I started doing like, outsourcing a lot of the work. So
that
that was a
is
lot.
like, there you go. Like you said, it shows you the proof that, like, one, people actually need this, they will pay for it. But like, social media works. Like, you got those clients because of social media. That's like the perfect conundrum, right? You posted a video that got millions of views on social media that brought people to you that wanted your help with social media. Like, people still think, yeah, but I can't get clients. There's no clients out there. There's no businesses that will ever pay me. Then, nothing's ever going to work for you if that's your mindset. Like, that is the reality. That is the reality. That's unreal. Amazing. Well, from there was another message I wanted to bring up, Amanda. We've spoken about this on a coaching call, but just for people listening, again, this is another thing they'll hear and go, that's just insane. You got a consulting client for $8,500 per month. For some people, that's
Mhm.
their goal. That's where they want to get to with 10 or 20 clients. They want to get to 8,000 a month. But to get it with one client and for just consulting, that's a whole other crazy story. So I think you should give us a 2-minute snippet on how that came to be as well.
Yeah, so I've been posting a lot of recordings like in a similar way to you of my coaching calls and my consulting calls, and just having people, give testimonials and things like that. And I think like having that social proof has really sort of legitimized like my work in the consulting realm.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been posting those like to Threads, to LinkedIn, and all these places. And I think just focusing on where the quality leads are, and really going in and posting all that proof on those platforms. That's where I got that client from LinkedIn actually. And so, I just felt like it's a very large chain. Like
Mm-hmm.
everyone knows who it is. I can't say who it is, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
everyone knows that. And they just asked like, "Hey, like how much would this be like per month if we were to do X, Y, and Z thing?" And I just thought about all my experience and my time, and like took all those things into consideration, and I was just like, yeah, 8,500 bucks a month, like that's what it would cost, which it does. Like, and I feel like a lot of people will underprice their services to sort of get people to say yes, and they sort of like undervalue themselves, or just say, oh, you know what, it should be this, but I'll do it for this. Like, don't do that. Like, charge what you're worth. Like, charge what you want to charge. It's your business. And so I just said, yeah, that's what it is. And they said, perfect. Where can I sign? I was like, I'll send it right now. But yeah, it's just crazy what if you put yourself out there and you're in the places where your ideal client is, like they will come to you. Like that is something that will just happen naturally. It's sort of like you have to put in the work on your end for that.
For sure. For sure. And like, obviously, if that was your first ever client, it probably wouldn't have happened that way, right? Because naturally, like you said, we do undercharge a lot of times. We undervalue ourselves and we start off lower and then we kind of increase that as we get more confidence. That's kind
Mhm.
of part of how we do things. But for people to just understand and see that, like that should act as such a source of inspiration, knowing that like that's the level you can get to. You can do that type of high level work with massive companies if you really want to. Like the potential is there. But of course, it's not going to be your first deal. So, just be willing to get a few of those
Yeah,
smaller clients on board, get your proof up, your case studies, your portfolio, work on all the basics, and the results do come. The biggest thing we see is if someone does this for 2 months, heck, even 5 months, you don't know what result you're going to get. You might get to 5K a month in 2 months. We've seen people do that. We've seen people get to 10K a month within 3 months from zero, which is amazing. But like the
mhm,
most guaranteed way to just do really well in this field is just stick with it for a long time. Simple as like just do it for a year, do it for 2 years, stick with it. Results will come. And it's just a matter of do you get to 10K a month in your first few months, or does it take a year? Does it take a year and a half? But like what is guaranteed is results as long as you're going to be here long enough. So that's the
right.
proof. You got that
Yeah.
big ass client because you stuck with it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I
For
did.
sure. 100%.
Yeah.
Amanda, for the person starting off, we've talked obviously a lot about your journey from the 5K month mark, freelancer, kind of maxed out there, and going to this agency model now where you're probably going to scale even higher than where you're at right now. You probably have goals of going bigger. What would be the kind of thing if you were to write the roadmap from 0 to 5K a month for the beginner? What would you tell them to do in the simplest, easiest things they could do that most beginners would be willing to do, right? Maybe not posting content right away, but what would be the first things you'd recommend?
Probably making a strong personal brand, and I know that's, like, slightly controversial, but I really feel like for me and even, like, people who I've helped as well, like, just putting yourself out there, I think is, like it's so important because if you don't have anywhere to attract clients, and if you don't have anywhere to put your proof or sort of build that credibility that you want, then it's going to be way harder to do the cold outreach. It's going to be way harder to, you know, approach people if they say, okay, well, you're saying that you're going to help me with my social media, but you don't even have your own. So how are you going to do that? So I think just building a personal brand, that's what I did.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I did. And but like I said, that's slightly controversial, I think.
For sure. It depends as well. Like some people will hear that and they'll just go, I don't want to do a personal brand, right? Like I don't want to post myself. I'm shy on camera. I'm not comfortable with it. And for that person, fair enough, like the cold outreach route will work for sure. It's going to take probably a bit longer. Now, the thing with a personal brand, from my perspective, I'm thinking of someone recently that has done quite well in our program with their personal brand. Is it took him like 4 months to get any sort of traction, like any kind of
Mm.
sort of views and followers coming in. And so the way that I would recommend it to somebody if they're willing to do a personal brand is start it from day one, but then also just have another form of getting clients just there, whether it's Upwork where you can submit proposals and they can come back to you, or if it is cold, because with the personal brand game, similar to what we talked about, right? Like if you start an agency, it's going to work. It's a matter of time. Same thing with a personal brand. You
Mhm.
could get a viral video in your first month, or it could take you 6 months. And so you'll not know until you just start doing it consistently. So to give yourself the best chances, my advice is always do the two. Get the personal brand going if you're cool with that, and then also have your cold or your Upwork or your Fiverr or whatever platform you want to do as well. And then
Yeah.
I guess Amanda, for for the next step, like where do you want to take things from multiple six figures a year now? So let's just say well over 200K a year to the next. Like, what is the next thing for you? Is it a different kind of agency? Do you think it'll change much? Will you keep it kind of where it is? Like, what's your kind of vision?
So I think like so our or my I don't know why I say it like that. My it's so weird because like I still feel like when I talk to you, like I'm still like I bring myself back to that point where like it was not like this. So
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
still getting used to like all this, but anyway, I digress. So my social media management agency, like I said, does well over 20K a month.
Mhm,
We'll just pick a number. We'll round it up to 30. So we do
mhm,
30K a month. I would like by the end of the year, I would like it to be around 75K
mhm,
a month. And then as far as next steps, like for growth, I really want to, not that it's not legit right now, but I would like to hire people and like offer insurance, like
mhm,
offer, full-time, employment.
mhm,
So I think the next step is definitely sort of going from agency to
mhm.
agency.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I
Yeah.
100% get it. And I think it is the next evolution for most when you get to that point. You know, with the like, as you said, like the agency where it's like contractors, nobody's full time, no employees, it's all come and go quite kind of easily, kind of set up. For us, we
Mm,
we got to 50K a month with that and it worked perfectly fine. But I know if we were to go and take that and double and triple and quadruple the business, like you're realistically probably not going to get there with that same philosophy. But what you
right.
mentioned, like the full-time employee, like that whole route, the more corporate management structure, I think that's where you got to be, if you want to go to that next level. So
Yeah.
it's cool that you've seen that and like you're clear on like, yeah, cool, I want to do that. Some people, that's their idea of hell, is having full-time employees and that kind of corporate setup. For others, like that's the dream. So it's cool that you've got that outlined.
Yeah, I think, and I I would say in every step of the process, like, I've been happy. Like,
Hmm.
I was happy when I had 1 client for $1,000 a
Hmm.
month.
Hmm.
I was happy when I had 5 clients and I was at 5,000 a month. Like, I was really happy when I hit 20K a month, and
Hmm.
now I think it's just like I I really enjoy this. Like, I love what I do. Like, I've been in this industry for 10 years, like, went to school for social media, literally have a degree in social media,
Hmm.
and I think, like, it's just crazy that this is where I'm at. Like, I still like I said, I still, like, can't believe that, like, these words are coming out of my mouth.
Hmm.
Um, and, like, it was always the dream for me to sort of get to, like, 100K per month, and
Hmm. Hmm.
like other people do that. Like I've seen it happen multiple times before, and I
Yeah.
always thought, like, oh, that's really cool. I wish that was me. And now I'm in a position where I know that's the trajectory that we're going in, and I know
Hmm.
like literally exactly how to get there. And it's a little overwhelming, but I know that we can do it. It's just when it happens, it's going to be fast. And I think
Yeah.
that's sort of something that I have to really sit down and, like, adapt to because I'm very, like I don't know, I always like to tell people when I hire them, like, "I'm not scary, like, I'm really fun, I'm, like, the fun boss," like and, that's all great, but I think there is a time when you have to sit down and really be like, "Okay, like, I'm your boss, and this isn't fun, Amanda, anymore, like, we have, like, hundreds of thousands of dollars of revenue coming in a month, like, I need to,
Yeah.
like, have a legitimate conversation with you." Um, and so, yeah, I think like if anyone's just starting out or wherever you're at, like I think one thing people overlook is just like being happy. Like, yeah, you can be happy at any point of it, but
Mm. Mm.
it's just where do you want to be personally? Like maybe some, like you said, maybe some people don't want to go the corporate route. Maybe they just want to do it themselves. Like that's great. If you're happy doing that, then do that. But you know,
Sure.
I think I'm one of those people who just sort of like put myself in uncomfortable positions all the time, but I
Hmm.
think but I think, like I think that's good. I think you need to be pushed out of your comfort zone, and also having people on your team to push you out of your comfort zone, I think is good too.
For sure. For sure. Knowing what you want is the key, right? You can't live somebody else's dream. You got to do yours. And whatever that is, like that's the key. And I say that as if I have it all figured out. I don't. Like that's me saying it to myself as well. Like, the things that I work on and where I want to go with my business, it's like I'm going in the direction I want to go, not because I saw some person online that's there and I think that's the perfect place. It's like you said, find those pockets of happiness in each part of it, and then you'll be all right. And it doesn't matter where you are results wise, as long as you actually you're happy, fulfilled, or whatever word you want to use, content with what you're doing and where you're at. So
Mm.
Amanda, for the people that want to check out your stuff, we'll obviously leave some links, right? So your TikTok, Instagram, anything else that we should put below so that people can see what you're doing?
No, I think my threads, my Instagram, my TikTok, my
Hmm.
Facebook, everything is just at social manager Amanda.
Easy.
Um, for now. I don't know if that's gonna change, but that's what it is now. And I'm working on building like an agency page. But I'm like nitpicking all the content, so nothing's on there
Uh-huh.
yet.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so yeah, just if anyone wants to chat or take a look at my rants on threads and everything, my intrusive thoughts, that's at social manager Amanda.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, Amanda, the people watching, you have any last nugget you want to give out to them? You've obviously given tons in this, but just that last piece of advice, and obviously for people watching, yeah, check out Amanda's stuff. We'll link it below, and you have her username now. So
My last piece of advice, uh, monitor your screen time. Because I love working hard, and I'm sure like everyone listening is like whatever, so impressed and what have you. But like my screen time is like 18 hours a day, and that's not normal. Okay,
yeah.
that's not normal. So definitely take time for yourself also, which is something that
Mm,
I'm working on now. But you could work really hard, but you always need time for yourself. So don't
I love
overwork
it.
yourself.
I love it. I love it. We got the balance in there as well. All the mothers and fathers watching this will be happy. They'll say,
Oh
yes, Amanda is the great role model we need in the social media space. She's preaching balance. Good
yeah.
stuff.
Yep.
Alrighty. Well, everyone watching, hope you enjoyed. Obviously, check out Amanda's stuff and give us some feedback if you enjoyed.